Here are some things to think about as you begin the process of revising your editorial article. First, what was working? Generally speaking, those articles that worked better were ones that had issue selections that were relevant. That is, issue selections that came from the PPG website, where the assignment stipulates that the issues need to come from. Almost all drafts contained and referred to research sources, and this was also an important part of what was working. Now, as you do that, make sure to refer to those with according to statements, not citations. After all, we're supposed to be writing journalistic news articles here. And make sure to use the author's full name or last name, but never only an author's first name. That's far too informal. Most drafts were, in general, well developed. When you think about a persuasive topic, think about that topic as being equal to an issue plus a proposed solution. Take, for example, health in the Buffalo region. Perhaps we decide to attack this issue of health in the Buffalo region by looking at school lunches in the Buffalo Public Schools and proposing the solution to be enacted in the entire region being the Good Food Purchasing Program. The solution needs to fit the topic, not just be related to the topic. Case in point, poverty and income inequality. Unlike our previous example here, we have a solution that is related, but not necessarily one that would help to fix or solve the issue we're looking at. There is a clear correlation between poverty and incarceration. According to the American Action Forum, quote, "The United States' high rate of imprisonment has disproportionately affected low-income and minority populations." So, can I propose as a solution to poverty and income inequality a career and employment counseling service to help released felons get jobs as soon as possible after their release? No. I can't do this because causes of income inequality include things like globalization, increased automation, and education, among others. Some experts do list race as a factor in income inequality, but that is specifically in racial discrimination. The post-release employment program might help ex-cons find work, but it won't help fix the problem with racial discrimination in this country. Next, I wanted to say a couple of things about word minimum and maximum. In case you hadn't already noticed, this is the first project we've had where there's a very specific word range or range of acceptable numbers of words. That is a 750 word minimum and an 800 word maximum. That's because with this essay project, I want to stress the idea that you say what you have to say first and then go back and cut everything else. The goal of good, clear academic writing is to say as much as possible in as few words as possible. If you find that you still need more words, you could spend more words establishing the need to address the issue. You could spend more words explaining any quotations or ideas from external sources. You could spend more words demonstrating the cause and effect relationship between the issue and the solution to it that you were proposing, or you could spend more time discussing the graphical element you included, and by the way, there needs to be one. On the other hand, if you need to cut words, think carefully about what you can rely upon your reader to already know and don't say it. Look for assertions the reader's probably already made him or herself by virtue of being able to see where you're going with your argument. Simplify wording and sentence structure wherever possible. Ask yourself, do I really need this? Ask yourself, is this helping my argument? Ask yourself, did I already accomplish this same thing elsewhere? Remember, repetition is not the same as development, even if it's repetition in different words. One last note, remember this, a bored reader is one who is looking for an excuse to stop reading. Credibility. Credibility is built up through reference to specific events, specific statistics and other information, specific names and dates, experts and authority figures. On the other hand, credibility is undercut by suppositions, reliance upon only what is plausible but not necessarily that which is factual, a lack of sourcing, misspellings, capitalization issues, excessive clarity errors, the reader wondering why they are being told what they're being told, reader confusion, or the reader knowing or deciding that they know more than the author. The 30-second clock refers to the fact that a reader will go back and figure things out a first time relatively readily. The second time the reader has to do that, they may still do it, but they'll spend less time doing it. Meanwhile, the third, fourth, fifth, and other times, the reader will spend less and less time doing it. Think about yourself as having effectively a 30-second clock, and when that reader runs out the clock, it doesn't matter how much is left for the reader to read, they're most likely done reading. In terms of assignment fulfillment problems, one of the main things I saw was that some went well beyond 800 words without seeming to know about the maximum, while others came in well below 750 words. Otherwise, some submissions lacked the graphical element, some didn't make use of it, or some chose graphical elements that were simply not relevant to the editorial, including the issue and proposed solution in the editorial. Final thoughts. Completing this project well will pave the way forward for the persuasive speech and the persuasive letter after it. It is therefore imperative that you take this assignment seriously. Knowing your audience always enhances the overall effect of what you say and write. It is the difference between communicating acceptably versus communicating effectively. Lastly, persuasion is one of the most powerful communication skills you could develop. The ability to develop a persuasive discussion in this editorial article project will serve you in other classes and situations for a long time, even beyond this.